That's right. We're back. Week 3. They haven't pulled the plug yet. And to honor the occasion, my co-host Brendan Haywood has decided to put on a shirt with a collar. You are looking, you know what? You're looking like a summer camp counselor is what you're looking like right now.
You know what? I had this huge T-shirt on, just chilling around the house, and I didn't realize it looked as sloppy as it looked, and so I
You
had to
actually
switch
look like a
real quick
ghost
to
for
the collared
Halloween.
shirt. But I'm back. I'm back. I'm gonna be back matching you with the T-shirt.
Okay. Well, I was thinking I need to step up my game. I may be showing up with with the polo, with the collar. I can do that. Let's see where it goes. Let's see how this difference affects our conversation. Whether you start to get a little too regal for me in our conversation, you start using like words that I don't necessarily know, although that's difficult to find. And I believe we have lost our man. Yo.
Is that me or you? Because you're frozen.
I think that's you because I'm still up.
Okay, I'm gonna exit and come back.
Okay. There he is.
There you go. All right, we back.
All right, we for audio purposes, we will edit out the break, but I want people to know that we were just talking about the fact that you are dressed dramatically different. We were going to determine how that was going to affect the show, and then suddenly your feed goes down on the live on the live recording, and that may be telling us something. In any case, that's Brendan Haywood. I'm Ric Bucher. This is Finding the Seams. And I'm just curious, before we get into the topics of the day, I am taking a red eye after the show. And it got me to thinking about travel in general, and specifically the times that I've flown on team planes. And while I like the idea of red eyes and getting me places I need to go when I need to be there, I generally do not sleep on red eyes. I might get like an hour or two, but usually it doesn't work very well. And you obviously for 13 years, 13 or 14?
14. Don't shortchange me. 14.
Are we counting the last one? Are we really counting the last one?
They probably shouldn't, but it's going to count.
Technically.
Hey, they're going to count that last year in Cleveland, even though not much was done.
it counts toward the pension, right?
This too is true. No, once you get 10 years, you get the pension. So I was already good.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, 14 years. I like the fact that I said 13 when we did our first episode, and you kind of snuck in the 14 without correcting me. Mm-hmm. Very, very gracious of you as a co-host. All that time, 14 years on charter flights. I think it was all charter flights at that time, right?
Yeah.
Did you? How good were you about sleeping? Because you guys are flying in the middle of the night a lot.
I have never had a problem sleeping in my life.
Ever, anywhere.
On a red-eye plane, as long as I'm in first class or as long as I'm comfortable, I can fall asleep.
Okay.
There have been times where, like, let's say, like I'm doing Vegas Summer League and I'm leaving after Summer League, like leaving that night, I have fallen asleep before the plane is taken off and woken up just because I felt it hitting the ground.
Wow.
I can fall asleep. If I'm comfortable, I can fall asleep anywhere, I remember one time going out with my teammates. I forgot what city I was in, but I didn't want to go out, but everybody wanted me to go out. I fell asleep in the club. Like I'm laid up in the section.
That had to be the Washington Wizards. Like
for sure.
From everything you told us, it had to be the Washington Wizards. What do you mean? I can't remember which team.
No, I can't remember I can't remember which city I was in.
Oh, okay.
But I just remember I fell asleep in the club. I can fall asleep anywhere. All my best stories, for the record, all my best stories are from my Washington Wizard days. Yeah. we were a wild crew.
No doubt. And And when it goes from, I've had the good fortune of, I've flown private, I've flown the team charters, which is kind of private, but I mean, like private is the PJ where it's like,
Yeah.
5 of you.
I've never flown. I've never flown the private PJ.
You know what?
Never
You
done
know
it.
who I flew private with? One of the times was Jay Kidd.
Okay, yeah. Like I thought about it, and then like they threw out the price, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna see
Oh
what
yeah,
first class. I'm just gonna see what first class talking about. I'm not
I
doing
get that.
this. I'm not doing this.
I have a connection. I can set you up if it ever comes to that.
Nah, I'm not. It costs too much. It
Yeah,
costs too much, bro. I'm
no, I
not
hear
doing
that.
it.
But that said, done private, done the charter, and then obviously I got like 2.5. I've flown more than 3 million miles on commercial airlines, 2.5 million on one of them. And until they become a sponsor of the show, I'm not going to give them any love. That said, it was hard for me after flying team charters, particularly when I was a sideline reporter with the Warriors. That's primarily how I flew. To fly commercial was a shock to the system. I wonder for you, like, does it affect you in terms of when you're going on vacation or you're doing whatever with the fam, having to fly commercial and the difference?
Flying commercial doesn't really bother me that much, as long as I'm in first class. I will say this: when I first started, I was working for CBS, and there was a miscommunication, and and I was flying on this flight in coach.
Yeah.
Now I haven't flown in coach, in like 20 years. 20 years. I'm either flying first class or private, and so like for me, flying on a regular plane isn't a problem.
Yeah.
As long as I'm in first class, but flying coach, I walk past it. Ooh, this what y'all doing back here? Man, this is rough, man.
Yeah. And it has gotten rougher. It's like the accommodations are sort of like riding
the
a bus.
seats a little bit tighter. They're not giving you the snacks like they do up front, man. There's not as much leg room.
They're going to give you the little cookies or the pretzels.
Yeah,
that's it. You might get one drink. Yeah, it's changed. It's changed.
I didn't like it. I'll tell you that much. I did not like that.
I'm going to date myself, and we will move on after this, the travel log with Brendan Haywood and Ric Bucher. I very early on in my career, Ronnie Cycli had a quick spin with the Warriors, and I think I was a beat writer, but I already had certain status with the airline, so I got upgraded. I'm in a nice seat. I think I was in the big chair up front, and it was All-Star break, and Ronnie Cycli was going someplace, and he had a middle seat in the back. Now, for those who don't know, Ronnie Cycli, 7-footer, and I don't know how or why, but I saw him walk past me, and I looked back, and I could just see I could see his head, middle seat in the way back, and I was like, that's not right.
Yeah,
there was another time, I can't remember who the player was, but I had a seat. He wasn't a 7-footer, but he was like 6'8", 6'9". I forget where I was going, but I had one of the seats that didn't have a seat in front of it, and it wasn't up against the bulkhead. It had like room.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And same thing. He was in a jacked up seat, and I said, you know what? We can switch. Because I'm 6'2", 6'3", and I know it was like a 3.5, 4-hour flight. And I wish I could remember who it was. I knew the guy in passing, and I was just like, I can't do it. I gave
You're
him.
a good dude, man.
I gave it up.
You're a good dude. You're a good dude, man.
It was just one of those things, man. I don't know that if I would have done it for everybody in every situation, but I was in a generous mood at the time. All right, enough of that. We talked a couple of episodes ago about your experiences with the Dallas Mavericks, and I don't know if we said it on air or we were doing it off air about experiences with Rick Carlisle.
Right.
My history with Rick Carlisle goes way back, and obviously you won a championship with him in Dallas. You know the Rick Carlisle experience. But it got me to thinking about the Indiana Pacers and watching them in preseason. And I think everybody everybody dismissed them and what they are and who they're going to be, with Tyrese Halliburton expected to be out for the year and Miles Turner signing in free agency with the Milwaukee Bucks. Arguably their two best players. And I've been watching them, and I'm thinking we may be sleeping on them, particularly with the remaining talent that they have, and knowing what Rick Carlisle is capable of doing when he's given any sort of talent or the right sort of talent, what he's capable of doing. So I wanted to throw it out to you. It first of all, where you are with the Indiana Pacers and where you see them in the big picture in the Eastern Conference.
I don't think people are sleeping on the Indiana Pacers. We just saw them go to the NBA Finals. But I don't think without Tyrese Halliburton, and obviously with Turner now being gone, a true stretch five that can knock down threes, I don't think people think they can get back there. I think with Rick coaching and the talent they have, they would be a playoff team for sure. They will not be. They won't be like super slippers. This team is not going to be a lottery team,
Right.
because one of their biggest things was they're so deep. Their depth, like, don't get it twisted. You can't replace Tyrese Halliburton, what he means to that team, but you have Ben Mathurin. You've been seeing the young fella Furthy step up, making big-time highlight plays. You still have Pascal Siakam. You understand that this bench mob was very strong last year. Their bench and their overall depth had people saying, hey, is the days of the big threes done? Is this the way we should be doing it? So they have an unusual amount of depth, but at the end of the day, if we're talking about winning 2 or 3 playoff series without your best player, that's tough. That's tough to do. So I think this is a playoff team, but probably more of a one-and-done style team.
In a weird way, I feel as if the absence of Miles Turner almost hurts them more because he's harder for them to replace. And we touched upon this a little bit in the last episode, and I talked about it at length in my solo show about how the game, like small ball, I think has become tall ball. It's the same. The pace hasn't changed, but you just have across the board, you have guys that are the title contending teams are just big across the board, including the front line. Like you have skilled bigs doing what Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala did for the small ball Warriors. And that's why I think that Miles's absence is harder for them to replace. I think it's Isaiah Jackson is probably going to be their starting five, just not on the same level as Miles.
Well, the thing about Miles is he gives you so much versatility offensively and defensively. Defensively, he gives you that shot blocking, that ability to stop people at the rim. You love that. You need somebody that's going to be able to shut down the paint. Offensively, you're not running a ton of plays for Miles Turner, but he's always an option to score. If he runs a pick and roll and he pops to the top of the key, that 5-man has to go with him because Miles can knock that shot down, which gives Pascal so much room to operate and do what he's able to do. Gives a guy like Halliburton so much room to get down the lane because there's no big man out there. Or you can play another game. You can play a pick and roll with the 4-5 with the 1-4 combo, and you can put Miles in the strong side corner. Now, when you run that pick and roll to the right side, the rim protection is in the corner. Once again, these are the little games that Rick plays with a chess piece like Miles Turner. He can move him all over the court and remove your shot blocker.
Yeah,
I can put him at the top of the key. I can put him in the strong side corner. Truthfully, it's what a lot of teams also do to Rudy Gobert in the postseason too. They remove that shot blocking aspect. They move that guy all over the court, forcing to guard somebody on the perimeter. And Miles does a great job of knocking down shots, creating space for guys, but then defensively, he's able to shut down the paint. And there's just not a lot of guys with that skill set. And he will dunk it on you if he has the opportunity. He low key probably had one of the best plays of the playoffs, but because I forgot what game it was, the Pacers were getting blown out, but he dunked on, I want to say Hartenstein, so hard. So, but nobody cares because that was the game they were down 20. It was like in the fourth quarter.
Right.
But I was like, oh, like, ain't nobody showing this clip? So like Miles Turner, they're really going to miss him. They're going to miss Halliburton for sure, but to your point, they're going to really miss Miles Turner.
It's one of the, we use the word genius to apply to coaches far, far, far too often. But everything I know about Rick Carlisle, I am comfortable in saying, if not genius, he's like a Mensa level dude. He is incredibly, incredibly smart. And this is going back to when his first iteration with the Indiana Pacers with Jermaine O'Neal.
Right.
Like, he wanted to get Jermaine O'Neal the ball in certain places against certain teams. And he would run all kinds of misdirection, but the ball would wind up with Jermaine in his sweet spot in the same place every time. And that to me is genius when it comes to basketball. And so I wonder for you, like, how did that manifest itself when you were playing for him?
I totally agree when you say that Rick is a genius. Offensively, defensively, he totally gets it. The game plans are incredible. I probably didn't appreciate it as much as I should have until I retired, and I really looked back on my career, and I was like, that's the best coaching I ever got. And at the time, I didn't always see eye to eye with Rick because I was coming from DC where there was a lot of unstructure. So you have 8 years of unstructure, and then somebody walks in and tries to make you play a certain way.
Yeah.
Like myself, Karan Butler, Deshaun Stevenson, we weren't used to it. There's a little bit of a pushback. But when I got older, I was like, I kind of wish I would have started my career with that type of structure.
Yeah.
Because learning how to win, understanding what it takes to win, understanding where you're supposed to be on the court, how you win playoff games, game plans, being game plan specific. It was just these little things that Rick would do. And it would just, if you follow the game plan, it worked. Like the year in 2011 when we won the championship, every series, every game plan, impeccable. And they all worked just the way they said it would. It was just like every time he said something was going to work, it worked. Like he was like, "Hey guys, we're gonna ball pressure LeBron James. We're gonna ball pressure who? Yeah, LeBron James. We're gonna ball pressure this guy. And then he explained why we can't let this guy get ahead of steam. We're gonna help off of other areas. We're gonna help off of D Wade. We're gonna help off Chris. But what Chris Bosh? He can shoot. I don't care. We're gonna ball pressure this guy, slow him down, and then we're gonna go under the screen. So we're gonna pressure him to the screen, and then we're gonna go under the screen. We're not going to allow him to get comfortable and get downhill." And then Rick gave us the numbers also. He said LeBron is shooting, I think, like something crazy, like 58% from the field of the playoffs. But outside of 15 feet, he was shooting like 30-something%. He said, this is how we attack him. And the whole game plan was to attack LeBron from a defensive style that eliminated what he did well. And you saw the final result. And it was everybody had to do everything right every single day in practice, every single walkthrough, and you saw how it frustrated LeBron. And so these were the type of game plans. It didn't matter if it was the game plan that we had against OKC. It worked to perfection. It didn't matter if it was the game plan that we had against the Los Angeles Lakers. At that time, they were coming off of back-to-back championships. Rick Carlisle's game plans, offensively and defensively, were flawless every single time. I remember we played OKC. Everything was about Kevin Durant, obviously. And so this is when, Russ was in that mid-range pulling up. And so we're like, so what are we going to do with Russ's mid-range? He said, he gets as many of those as he wants. I went, huh? He said, we can win with that guy shooting a bunch of mid-range pull-up contested twos. He shoots 42% on those. That's not going to beat us. The 7-foot guy shooting all the threes, we have to cut his water off. There's a special game plan for him.
Yeah.
And so you go into a game and you're thinking like, oh my goodness, we're about to let Russ do what he does well. And truthfully, they're like, that's not going to beat you. And then you go into the game plan and you see like, oh, they want him shooting and not giving it to KD. We want him taking these shots. We really will win if he takes these shots. And Russ was still cold. It was just KD colder. You know what I'm saying? And they understood that dynamic. So every series, it was interesting because sometimes as a team, we didn't agree with the game plan, but we went out there and did it, and we saw it work every single time.
Interesting. That to me, most coaches have a plan.
Yeah.
The trick or the goal or the secret is to get the team to buy in and believe in the game plan and execute it. What is it about coaches in general who have that capability that can get a team to buy into the program, and what was it about Rick, or what did Rick have that allowed him to get you guys to buy into the program?
The first thing was Rick didn't care who you were. If you didn't buy in, he was going to let you hear about it. He didn't care. It didn't matter if it was Dirk. It didn't matter if it was JJ Barea. He was an equal opportunity offender. If you didn't do what he thought you were going to do, some coaches duck the smoke. He never did. And so that was number one. Number two is you see the game plans working. If your coach says we're going to do this and it works, well, yeah, it might sound unconventional, but you're like, it worked though. So now you have more faith the next time. So I remember that same year, 2011, we go into a preseason game. He says, yeah, we're going to play exclusively zone. We said, we like, what, for a quarter? He said, no, the whole game. From tip to the end of the game, we're working on exclusively zone. We're going to need zone later. And I'm talking to Dwayne Casey because I'm like, Coach, crazy. Why are we running zone the whole game? Casey's like, big fella, we want the high Dirk eventually. And he understood that. We're running zone in preseason.
Interesting.
Because we know we're going to need this zone come May.
Yeah.
And so we're working on our zone slides in training camp. They just took a preseason game and said we're going to work all zone. And then we would just throw zone at you throughout the course of the year from time to time to just continuously work on it. And it was those little things like, okay, we're working on the zone slides. We might throw it at a team in the third quarter and it works. And we're like, oh, okay. And at this time, think about it, wasn't a lot of teams playing zone in like 2011. They thought that was weak.
Nope.
So so we as a team, we didn't like it, but then we see it frustrate teams and it slows teams down for little bits and stretches because they're trying to figure out where they're supposed to go. And here's the unique thing about a zone. Most teams have an extensive playbook. They normally might have, 2-3 zone plays?
Yeah.
So if you can throw them off, they really might not have much to go to. And so we saw it work. And that's why Rick Carlisle could be the evil genius that he is because even though we might not agree, it's like, it's working.
I think we might have just discovered the reason why things didn't quite work out between Luka Doncic and Rick Carlisle.
Oh, I could have told you that. I already knew that one. You could have just asked that.
Well, I know Rick. So I kind of knew where that was coming from. But like that, particularly now, I don't know if you saw, just like JJ Redick is like, hey, Luka, like you got to stay with the program a little bit more. Like we can't just be going off script and trying stuff. I mean, that's, again, a lot of situations where you have a great player that wants the freedom to do what they do, and they have the talent to make it work. In most cases, the coach is in the position of, yeah, but I got to make it work for everybody. Like I got to see big picture. And I don't know that a star player always necessarily understands that. But as I think about your team, about that Dallas Mavericks team, and this is probably, I would argue, why you and Rick, that group and Rick won a championship, is because he had all guys that at the end of the day were willing to buy in. Dirk as a superstar is willing to buy in. Jay Kidd, particularly at that time in his career, if you explain it to him, I think and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think he's willing to buy in. It just has to make sense for him.
Right.
And I can't think of anybody on that team that didn't think that way, which gave Rick the latitude to put the things in place that he wanted to, as sometimes unorthodox as they might have been.
Exactly. And our team was older too. So
right.
Everybody already had their money. Stojakovic had got paid, Dirk had got paid, Jay Kidd, Sean Marion, even got role players like myself. I was on a good deal. So like Caron Butler, I think if I didn't mention him, he had already got paid in DC. So everybody got paid.
Sean Marion.
Yep, Sean Marion already got paid to Phoenix. Everybody got paid. Some of these guys had been all-stars. The guys that were good enough, they played in their all-star games and been all-pro, but nobody had won. That's what hurts young teams because they're not. People will never tell you it's all about winning. It's actually not. Okay, there's a lot of agendas. There's a lot of people that are playing for contracts. There's people that are playing for all pro. There's people that are playing for not all pro, all NBA. There's people that are playing for that all star selection. There are people that after they get the all star selection, they don't come back from all star the same way. There's people that have hidden bonuses within their contract from their shoe contract to their regular contract. I remember going for a rebound one time with Caron Butler in DC. And he was fighting me for this rebound so hard. I just looked at him. I said, "You got a rebound clause in your contract, don't you?" And he just started laughing. I'm like, "Yeah, man, let me get the rebound. Let me eat, dog. What are you doing?" Like, there's all types of little things along the way that keep teams from winning because it's that me. Because there's always, this is a business. We think it's just a game, but no, this is a business like nothing else. And guys want to achieve certain levels of success, fame, and money. And when you have a bunch of guys that haven't achieved that, that's why you don't win. And when you get a bunch of guys that are willing to buy in and either put some of that stuff to the side or everybody's already achieved that, then it's a lot easier to win. That's what makes OKC so truly unique. All those guys are still young and everybody's so bought in. Like when you watch that team, I'm like, man, that team's bought in. That's a mature young team, man.
Yeah.
All my young teams were terrible when it came to maturity.
With Indiana now, what I found the most interesting is, and not this past year, but I believe it was the year before, they played, and it's not, they played wide open this year, but last year they really played wide open and their defense was non-existent, which really surprised me for a Rick Carlisle team. To me, it was how much he has evolved because I felt like he really took his hands off of the wheel in a way that I had never seen him before. What did you make of watching him coach this Pacers team the last few years?
Just watching him, like you said, Rick had to evolve with the times. The game is more free flowing. Rick used to love to control every aspect of the game. Him and Jay Kidd sometimes used to bump heads because Jay wanted to go and Rick wanted these plays run. Yeah, like that's why Rick Carlisle and Rondo didn't get along. So, and that's why you have to give Coach Carlisle credit. Okay, me and Jay Kidd made it work, but it was sometimes a fight. Me and Rondo didn't work out at all. Me and Luka, it definitely didn't work out. Okay, I'm going to have to change something or else it's just not going to work out. And he learned and he became a different version. I'll even say a better version of the coach that he already is. It's like, okay, I'm going to give these guys a little bit more freedom. We're going to play a little bit faster pace. I know we're probably going to give up more defensive points than I'm used to giving up. But in today's game, I'm going to have to give a little bit and try to figure it out on the fly. This isn't going to be the Boston Celtics defensive teams that I were a part of in the 80s. This is going to be a new brand of basketball. And you saw Rick give his players more and more control, more and more leeway. They still had to have a certain level of discipline, but I saw a lot of growth.
Yeah. You, even in Dallas, you got a kinder, gentler Rick Carlisle than the one that I...
Jesus!
The one that I saw in Detroit and the one that I saw in Indiana in the first iteration was, it was simply, he had a very set idea of how things needed to be, and it was difficult for him to communicate or be personable beyond that. My favorite, and I knew him, I got along with him well because I understood that about him, and it wasn't intentional. I think it was a reflection of just his high IQ. He was just so smart that it was like, everybody needs to do it my way because I know this works. And like, I'm not going to take any feedback from somebody who's not as intelligent as I am. And I kind of got to know him through, we both play piano and we were both at the Pete Newell Big Man Camp. And they always have like a piano somewhere in the corner in the hotel, right? And we were coming back one time and we just saw one and I didn't know at the time that he was as accomplished as he was. But anyway, we ended up sitting down and started jamming together and taking turns playing and whatnot. And so when he was in Indiana, he actually invited me over to his house. He had like a 14-foot grand piano and a recording thing set up, and
Wow.
actually recorded some songs that I did. But like, I got to know him on that level. And so I knew how prickly he could be personally, but I saw through it in terms, I didn't take it personal. And if you don't know him, and look, I was also coming from a place where like, I wasn't working with him or for him. So it wasn't a challenge to me, but I kind of understood why it was difficult at times for him to connect with players. What was that like with you in Dallas with him on a personal level? Did you see sort of the same things? Was that the challenge? And how did you guys make it work?
I think to your point, he grew a lot because he would allow input from certain guys. Now he's a coach. He can't let everybody speak. But but like, hey, if Jason Kidd saw something, I would see him say, "Okay, Jason, what do you think?" Matter of fact, and you can probably go find this clip. We're playing against the Clippers, and Rick's about to draw up a play. It's the end of the game, and Jay Kidd's like, "Yo, coach, I got it." And I'm looking, and Rick says, "Okay, what do you see?" He said, "Not Mo Pete. What's Mo? Point guard, played for the Clippers. Used to wear a headband, played with LeBron. The point guard. He's a coach now.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
What's his
He
name?
played in Cleveland too.
Yes, he did. Played with LeBron in Cleveland. Actually came back and won a championship with him. Didn't play as much on that team, but anyway, that Mo was cheating the play, and we were basically running a play. It was almost, the elevators action that you run at the free throw line.
Yeah. Where you close the doors.
Yeah, the two bigs are at the free throw line, and
guy comes up the middle.
Jason Terry would go in between, and we would close the doors, and he'd be wide open for a three. And he would, and Jay Kidd was like, "Yo, Mo's been cheating this play all game long." He's like, "So what I want you to do is the two bigs. I want you guys to take a step farther back, and Jay, act like you about to go around the side of the screen and go back door. And on the play, just the way Jay Kidd said it was, Mo tried to cheat to the other side of the screen. Mo Williams tried to cheat to the other side of the screen. Jet cuts back door, and he gets a wide open layup. And it was because Rick allowed Jason to draw that play up in that moment. So that just shows you how much he had totally let go. Not only did he ask Jay Kidd what he saw, he allowed him to draw the game-winning play up in that moment. So Rick had grown a lot as far as letting go of control by the time I got to him.
There's no question that he's come a long, long, long way. One of my favorite memories for who Rick was at the very beginning is I walked in because I knew him well enough. Like I could walk into the coach's office before a game when the rest of the media couldn't or whatever. And I walk in and he's ironing his underwear.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he used to tape his ankles sometimes, the coach too.
And they're tighty whities. And he was ironing them. That to me captured the Rick Carlisle at that time. And now, like,
coach ain't gonna like you telling no story about.
I know
he's not gonna like that. If he see you, it might be smoke. I'm just gonna let you know. He's not gonna like that you told that story.
Trust me. We've already had that before. Like,
okay, I'm just letting you know. If he see you, it might be on site. He ain't gonna like you telling people that he used to iron his drawers.
But I'm saying that's who he was. That's who he was, and that's what he's evolved from. He also, what is dangerous about this is he has some stories on me. Yeah. So,
but you used to iron your drawers too.
Here's what? No.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Just checking.
No. But he, he has some stories, and the difference is that I don't think he's in. Look, this is the reason I told the story, is because I do it for our listeners and for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve the public.
Okay.
Sometimes there's a price to be paid.
This too is true.
That's all there is to it. I'm curious. So, what do you think the distinction was between Rick and the other coaches that you had, the Eddie Jordans? I think you had Flip Saunders.
Mm-hmm.
You had David Blatt in Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken.
David Blatt, yeah. Doug Collins in my first
Doug
year.
Collins, starting out with, like, is there? What was the distinction with Rick?
I played for a lot of really good coaches. Also had Steve Clifford too in Charlotte. So I played for a lot of really good coaches. I think the attention to detail from Rick and Doug Collins. Those were the two guys as far as attention to detail, game plan specific. Like, if you didn't do exactly what they wanted in those situations and it didn't work out, they were always going to be upset because they understood the little things meant big things. And for Rick, you could always see he was always building. Like our offensive playbook, he was always building. He's like, okay, yeah, you remember that play we used? Okay, yeah, we're going to add this onto it. So when, like, for me, just to see how he continuously built up offensively, he was able to shift defensively what we wanted to do from, hey, we're going to play man, we're going to play a drop coverage, we're going to run zone for a quarter. He wasn't afraid to go outside of the box. Sometimes, like I said, zone back then was outside the box. He wasn't afraid to go outside of the box to try to win a game. Like, who else would have thought to themselves, you know what? Dwayne Wade is killing us right now in the post. I'm going to take Sean Marion off of LeBron James, put him on Dwayne Wade, and we'll just guard Sean Marion with Jason Terry and see what happens. Like, he's like, I'm not afraid. He's not afraid to do something like that in the highest moment, and he's not afraid to lose because of it. And that's what makes him good. There's no fear there. Most coaches would be like, you can't take Sean Marion off LeBron. Well, D Wade is out here looking like Hakeem Olajuwon in the post. Go back and look at the 2011 finals. LeBron didn't play well. D Wade was on fire. We had to go out there and send somebody over there that had a little bit more size, but that's what made Rick Rick. He was never scared to do things like that might be a little bit unconventional.
Yeah. Not play well is an understatement for that series for LeBron James.
I'm trying to be kind. I'm starting to see you a LeBron hater. I'm starting to see.
No, I am a realist is what I am. There's way too much propaganda out there. And I would say that 98% of the media go along with it. And I just feel like I need to represent the 2% and keep it real. I hate that accusation because there's so much to admire and respect about LeBron James that I do, but I'm going to keep it a buck. And so
I'm not saying that you're not.
All right. Just because I'm not wearing a collar doesn't mean like
you jealous of my collar. I'm gonna get you a shirt like this too, man. You can send me your size, man. We can match next episode.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I won't say no. I'm free as me. I'm good with that. One last thing on the Pacers and Rick Carlisle. Benedict Mathurin, who I've been on that bandwagon since he came into the league. I think he's got something. You talked about players having irrational confidence. Right. Benedict Mathurin is one of those guys. I think he had to bring his game to the point where his irrational confidence was equal to it. But I like guys who believe that they can get it done and they just need the opportunity. I don't know how closely you followed them, but I was always curious how that was going to work between Mathurin and Carlisle because he does like efficiency and Ben's not always in that category. What have you seen as you've watched the evolution of their relationship?
I see that Rick understands that he needs Ben to win. And that's what coaching is. All right, this guy is not particularly my style of player, but he helps us. So I have to put him in the best position to succeed. You know what? He probably doesn't need to be a starter. He needs to come off the bench And when he comes off the bench, we need to run plays for him, get the ball in his hands right away, take advantage of what he does well.
Yeah.
And, it might not work if he's out there the whole game with a healthy Halliburton and Siakam. But if he comes out there and he's out there with T.J. McConnell, and McConnell's running this offense fast and looking for him, and now he gets to feel like he's the man with that second unit, now you're tapping into what makes Ben good.
Yeah.
Ben has irrational confidence. He probably thinks he should be starting and getting more shots anyway. Well, what I'm going to do is when he gets in with this second unit, I'm going to put him in a position to get as many shots as possible so that he can thrive and we can win, because we need his offense. So we need his offense. It's not going to be consistent every night, but we do need what he brings to the table, and that is what good coaches realize. Everybody's not a perfect player.
Yeah.
This guy might shoot a lot. He might not be the most efficient, but man, with our second unit, we can really, really use this guy. And Rick does a great job of doing that.
I wonder because Rick Carlisle played for the Boston Celtics, for those who may not know, played sparingly, but he was tight with Larry Bird.
Right.
And one of the reasons why he was in Indiana in the first place and his connection is largely because of Bird. Bird's always been his guy. I just wonder, because I believe every head coach knows a lot of what you have just described about Rick in terms of how to play, how to win, all of that stuff. Where they fall short is their reluctance or inability or fear to implement or require players to stay with their program, that they don't like confrontation, or they don't, for whatever reason, are afraid to hold guys accountable. And I just wonder, because Carlisle wasn't a great player in his own right, but being that close to Bird and seeing how a great player responds to coaching, maybe that I'm looking for the reason why Carlisle has always been fully confident enough to say, no matter who he's coached, to say, this is the way we're going to play.
No fear. You talk about Rick being a little bit different, a little bit quirky. There's no fear. Some coaches, they coach, but there's fear. There's fear of losing.
And you can tell as a player.
Yeah, you can sniff it out. Yeah. You can sniff it out right away. There's fear of losing your job. Rick don't care. There's fear of upsetting the star player. Rick don't care. Rick doesn't care. So because the fear aspect is eliminated, Tyrone lose another coach like that. He doesn't have a fear. He doesn't have that fear. So because Rick Carlisle doesn't have that fear of being fired, he doesn't have that fear of upsetting the star player, he can go say exactly what he feels because he truly believes it's the right way to play or what's right for you. And if you don't agree with it, he has no problem introducing you to the bench.
Yeah.
And that's really what all you have. You don't have to cuss players out. You just have to be like, listen, if you do this, you'll play. If you don't, you won't. And if you are true to that, guys adapt. I remember when Caron Butler first came to Dallas. He came in there with us, and you got to realize in that year, Gil was hurt. So Caron was used to getting the ball and getting shots in the fourth quarter. And Rick pulls him aside and is like, hey, I know what you used to do in D.C. And he looked him dead in his face and said, that's not needed here. I was like, anybody knows Caron, they see, hey, Caron's a nice buttoned-up coach now, but he was tough juice back when I played with him.
Oh, yeah.
And he used to chew his little straw. I could see him getting upset. And he just said, listen, in the fourth quarter, the ball goes through Jason Terry and Dirk. And then if they decide to swing it to you, then you get your shots. If you take shots before they get the ball, you come sit beside me. And eventually Caron bought into that. Because first of all, he says it with conviction. He didn't disrespect him. He didn't embarrass him in front of the team. He just told him, like, yo, what you were doing in D.C., that ain't going to work. It ain't going to work here. You can't play your way here. I need you to do this. They're going to get to you, but it starts with them. We don't want you taking first side jumpers over here in transition. That ain't how we win.
Yeah.
Big fella got to touch that thing. 42. He got to get the rock. And so once people start understanding that, he told me the same thing. And they say, hey, man, I saw like it was a film session. And it was just he actually called me in the office. It was just me and him. I got an offensive rebound in DC. I shot every offensive rebound I got because Gil wasn't passing, and so I didn't care. I was going to shoot. If I got an offensive rebound, I was going to force it up. So I got an offensive rebound, and I just shot a jump hook in the lane. And he stops the clip. He's like, I see that you see Dirk standing right there in the corner, and you shot it anyway. He said, do you know who that is in the corner? I said, that's Dirk. He said, yeah, that's also 20,000 points. That's 20,000 points. He said, you passed up 20,000 points to shoot your raggedy, blankety blank jump hook. And I was so offended because my jump hook wasn't raggedy. It was all I had. But he got his point across. Hey, bro. He said, you're not here to score. If you get any offensive points, that is a bonus. If you rebound, you play defense, you kick it to Dirk when you see him wide open, you'll play. If you don't, you won't. You break it down that simple to guys, it becomes real easy.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And some coaches are better at that than others.
Yeah. Well, and it's also
wasn't raggedy. It wasn't raggedy. It wasn't raggedy.
No. I actually remember you said I think you said you were very self-effacing a show or so ago when you said that you couldn't score in an empty gym. I think you said that.
Yeah, I just be playing around. Listen, yeah. I knew, like I said,
you had more game than I was going to come back to you to say that's not true. I had
a jump hook, a little drop step, some up and unders, but I knew my calling card in the league. No one paid me to score. I was there to. My best attributes were offensive rebounding and shot blocking.
Yeah,
and that's basically what was told to me by Rick Carlisle, and in that fashion. And like he just had his way, like, yo, it's just if you're gonna do this or you're not gonna do it. You're gonna play or you're not. You make the decision.
Yeah. That to me is the secret to a long career, is understanding what your value is and being willing to accept it. And as is often said, be a star in your role, right?
Yeah.
Do what you do great. And it doesn't mean that you're not trying to add a little something to your game. It's not you're trying to amplify your skill set, but understanding that until you prove or the opportunity is presented for you to maybe showcase what you've added to your game, you better be executing what it is that you're expected to do.
Yeah, you got to do what you as a role player. Well, everybody comes into the league with dreams. And you slowly but surely have to settle into what type of player are you. Are you a star? Are you an all-star? Are you a role player? Are you a guy that's a little bit better than a role player? Okay, and then you got to figure out, okay, what do I do well? There's some guys, they score well. Ben Mathurin scores well. He always is going to have to look to be aggressive to score. As a guy like myself, if I'm taking too many shots, that's what the other team wants. Like, I can take certain shots, but they have to be calculated from certain areas, certain times of the game. And so, like, you got to understand, like, hey, my role is to rebound, set good screens, and play defense. And if I'm open, yes, get to your jump hook or get a dunk or maybe, drop step, whatever. But you have to understand why you're there. And some guys don't understand that. Some guys feel like, oh, man, I can do this, I can do that. And that's why they end up out of the league. There's a ton of talented guys that end up playing 3 years in the league and then playing overseas for a long period of time because they never figure out how to find the role.
And when they go overseas, they're forced to find a role, or that's the end of the road. I think the reality hits them once they go overseas. We have just a little bit of time left, and I want to squeeze in at least another one of the several subjects that we wanted to hit.
Okay.
And I'm going to do this. We talked about the top 4 teams in the West, our respective top 4 teams. I had OKC, Denver, Houston, and Dallas. I think you had OKC, Denver, Houston, and Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Who are your top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference going into the season?
In the East, I'm going to go with Cleveland. I'm going to go with the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Orlando. and I've gone back and forth with which one of these young teams I'm going to go with. For right now, I'm going to go with Atlanta, but I was debating between Detroit and Atlanta. I think we're at the point where there is a superstar youth takeover, where we're over the next 2 to 3 seasons, we're going to see the guys like Paolo, Cade Cunningham, these young stars. We're going to see those guys ascend, and we're going to see the LeBrons and the Steph Currys and those guys start to, pass the torch, get out of the way a little bit. And you're starting to see that right now. Like, oh, these guys are having playoff success. These guys are on the way up. And some of these older stars that are 37, 40 years old, you understand their time is limited. There's going to be a shift in this league. SGA is the best player. You see how young he is and how young that team is. So the Eastern Conference is no different. I didn't really like what Milwaukee did this offseason, so I can't put them up there. Truthfully, from a talent standpoint, I really should believe in Philly, but I just can't get behind them. I mean, I've
seen that movie enough times that I can't.
Yeah, but like they have Joel Embiid, who he's been the MVP, so they probably have a guy that's technically the first or second best player in the Eastern Conference right now, especially with Tatum out for the year. You got Paul George. You still got Maxey. I like.
You're
DJ
singing a song even you don't believe. Like you're telling me these names, and you're saying, "Hey, would you buy this car?" I mean, a lot of people drive this car. It has driven. It's other people have had it, and it's gotten a lot. It's gotten great mileage. It's got leather seats. It's got all this, and I'm like, yeah, but that car always breaks down. That car is never. That car is always in the shop. The Philadelphia 76ers are done in my mind until something dramatically different happens. Yeah. I am putting them to the side. I am not counting them as a factor in the Eastern Conference.
I'm not putting them up there. Obviously, Boston is hurt right now with Tatum being out. I really didn't like what Milwaukee did this offseason. I mean, what were their two biggest? I mean, I understand they brought in Turner, but I thought they needed a little bit more. Losing Dame, and all you bring in is Turner and Giannis's two brothers. Like, what are we doing? Like, hey man, they're gonna have the whole family working in a minute. hey, I was like, dog, everybody. Hey, he not just one brother. He got two brothers on the team.
Hey,
come on,
this is what I'm trying to hide it. I can't remember which brother said it, but Bronny posted something. And I think Bronny was posting something about I don't know how somebody's going to stop this, and had a screenshot of the starting five in the Lakers, right?
Right.
And one of the Antetokounmpo brothers responded and said, "Hey, got all the respect in the world for you, Bronny, but let's face it, you and I are just Gatorade passers on the bench." I appreciate that self-awareness to say, "Hey, I know why I'm here, and it's because my brother is the superstar."
This too is true, but I don't believe in Milwaukee this year. So
yeah,
I'll throw it to you. I'll throw it to you. Which team do you like better between Atlanta and Detroit?
Detroit. I like the moves that Atlanta has made. Yes. And I didn't really know what to think of Zachary Rissache coming in. I watched a lot of Eurobasket over the summer. I don't know that he's a franchise player, but I think he's really good. And I think he's going to be a good two-way player. At the heart of it, you still have Trae Young. And I just, everything that I kind of know about him and all the guys that they've traded away because they got tired of playing with him, I believe he hit his high water mark that year when they went to the conference finals, if I'm not mistaken, or on the brink of going.
No, they went to the conference finals. They beat Embiid. They beat Embiid, and then they lost to Milwaukee.
That's right. So I'm not. I like what Detroit has built. I'm a huge believer in Cade Cunningham and the way that they play. My top four, and I think that the tide is turning quicker to those younger teams because of Philly's injury history, because of the condition that Boston is in, because of Milwaukee has hit a flat spot, that I have both Orlando and Detroit in the top four, along with Cleveland and New York. I just, I look at Orlando, and injuries are the only thing that have held them back, and that is a young team. Adding Desmond Bain, I think, was the perfect addition.
Injuries ain't the only thing that held Orlando back now.
I'm
what
listening.
about shooting? They were the worst 3-point shooting team.
Like I said,
I had to call 2 of their playoff games. I was like,
oof,
you know how every team they talk about swing.
Yeah.
We want to get in the lane, swing it one time, and then swing it one extra time to get that great shot.
Yeah.
Orlando, they would swing every time. And the guy in the corner was shooting like 27% from 3, was never hitting the shot.
That's the value of Desmond Bain, and I believe Tyus Jones is.
Yeah, but Desmond Bain is one guy. He's not a magician. He can't make everybody shoot.
Tyus Jones shoots 40% plus. I think Paolo Banchero. I mean, Banchero was gone most of the year. I think that he can shoot the 3. Anyway, I just believe they're on the precipice of taking the next step. So I put them in that category. There's one team before we go that I wanted to get your take on that has not been mentioned, and that's the Miami Heat, and where you put them in the mix, if you're considering them at all, because I never want to turn my back on them. They are like Eric Spoelstra teams are like Rick Carlisle. Whatever they have, they're going to maximize what they have. And I think they have some young players. I like Kalel Ware a lot. I like Jovic, the young Serb. And they added my man from the Clippers. I just think that I don't want to completely sleep on them. I don't think they're a title contender, but I think they are a playoff team.
I think Miami is definitely a playoff team with the way that I think Ware showed a lot in the preseason. I'm like, whoa, this kid really can play. We understand that Hero's going to be able to score the basketball as well.
I'm not in love with him.
But he can score it.
Yes,
I'm not saying. I don't think that he scores it like SGA, but we know he is a all-star level scorer. I think Bam has to be aggressive all the time. Yeah. I love Bam's game. I just sometimes I wish Bam believed in him the way I do.
I'm with you.
There's so many games where I'll come out and I'll see in the first quarter, Bam's 5 for 6. I'm like, this is the game. And then at the end of the game, he'll be like 7 for 12. I'm like, nah. Yeah. When you start out hot like that, I need you to keep it going. Like, if I could tell if Miami is going to be better than expected, I think Bam is going to have a shift of where he understands that, you that dude. Like, Bam has gotten better offensively every year, but you can tell that Bam wasn't always an offensive player. Certain guys have been offensive players since middle school. And so they just have there's times where I'm like, Bam, go shoot that. He get in the middle and he'll start pump faking. Like, no, don't pump fake. Just get to your fade, shoot it. You're cold. Like, Bam is super cold to me. He just sometimes doesn't play as aggressive as he needs to. Like, at NBA TV, we'll have a bunch of games going. So, I might be watching in the first quarter, and I'm like, okay, Bam's got 10 points. I come back in the fourth quarter, I'm like, he got 17. Like, nah, this supposed to be like one of them 28-point games. You was 5 for 5, bro. Like, I need that. So that's my true problem with Miami, is that Bam isn't always as aggressive as I feel that he has to be if this team is going to be really good.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. That is the thing. I have mad respect for Bam's game, both ends of the floor, how he carries himself. I think he's a true pro, but I'm of the same mind. I'm like, dude, you're the best option out here in a lot of situations. And I see you deferring, or you can see he gets there, he looks, and then he doesn't take it. And I'm like, this is the Miami Heat. You're not going to get a better shot than that. This team isn't talented enough. Norman Powell was the guy I was referencing from the Clippers that they acquired. And I think he will help them in the big picture. All right. That's it. That is it. By the way, my understanding is that podcasts that make it past 30 days, most of them fail within the first 30 days, the podcast shows. And
Okay.
we are on the brink of passing the 30-day mark. I'm also going to say I don't know whether that's true or not at all, but I saw a clip of a guy talking about how a guy said that if you want to capture people's attention, you give them a little story or a nugget that's just unbelievable.
Mm.
And then he said, but the nugget that this guy gave as an example actually wasn't true. He said that the guy said, did you know that there are more people alive today than have died in the history of the world? And you're like, wow, that's amazing. Like that's an incredible thought.
Hey man, what you be watching, man?
And then, yeah, I know. And then I'm just curious. Look, dude, the rabbit holes I go down, don't even
I
start.
see. I see. I
But
go
here's
check
the
your search
reality.
history.
That is not true. Like that's not true. There's like, I think 180 billion people have died since the beginning of time.
Right.
There's 8 billion people on the planet right now. Like this dude threw out, did you know? And then threw it out there like a fact. And the reason I bring all of this up is because in pretty much everywhere on the internet and with shows, you really don't know whether you can trust the information. And this is for our listeners, Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear something on Finding the Seams, like a coach irons his underwear or somebody puts Red Hot in a pair of tights that belong to his teammate, you can be assured that that is the truth.
For
So
sure.
that's
I'm gonna tell you, listen, I can tell you this. Every story that I will give you from behind the scenes will be the absolute truth with no sauce added to it. And even if it makes me look bad, I'm still going to tell the story the way it's supposed to be told. Some guys like to, hey, I'm going to give you just the facts. Some guys
Yeah.
like to adjust the facts. And
Right.
I can't do that.
Take themselves out of the picture.
Yeah.
I get it. All right. Well, we're going to take ourselves out of the picture. That is it for this week's show. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you here again this time next week.
All right.